And a beautiful, wonderful, fantastic good morning. Happy Friday, TGIF. Hey, it's David-Dorian Ross here, and I hope I got past that awkward pause that always happens at the beginning of a live stream when we're trying to figure out whether or not we're actually live or not. And here we are. So welcome, and I'm looking at my screen, and of course, no one's here yet. I gave a party and nobody came. Um, Boom, and then there's three people who just showed up. Anyway, good morning and welcome. If you are watching, say hello over there in chat. There's Robert. Good morning. Good morning and welcome. Hey, I want to spend some time with you guys today after we're done with what I've got to share to answer any questions that you might have or just to kind of tickle your fancy with some invitations to ask more questions and that kind of thing. But I do have something very special to work with you on today, and that is all about the eyes. Where do the eyes look? For those of you who haven't been kind of hanging out with me for the past month or so, I've started this whole new series of live streams, really trying to make an answer to all of the common questions about Tai Chi and really trying to help make it easy for people. And one of the most asked questions, sometimes I forget how common the question is because I don't think about it, but it's a great question. And that is, what do I do with my eyes? Where do I look when I'm doing Tai Chi? Is there something I'm supposed to be looking at? What's the gaze? So there's a martial aspect to this. There's a meditation aspect to this. Sometimes people have come from other traditions like Hatha Yoga, for example, where there is a gaze that you have, even when that thing that you're looking at is inside you, called a drishti point. A drishti point means, a point of focus. And we have points of focus in Tai Chi too. And so I'm going to tell you what those are and make it super, super easy for you. I'm going to get up into the studio space here in a second and, invite you all to come with me and dance a little bit while we work on this. But first, let me just say hello to everybody who's here. Karen's here. Good morning, Karen. Thank you. Big heart back to you there. A hermit's life. Hi from South Carolina. A lot of times I don't know what all my friends' YouTube handles are or Facebook or Instagram handles, and so I might see somebody if I know you, I just said a hermit's life. It's because I don't know your handle. Raul is here from India. Haven't seen you for so long. It's good to see you. For those, again, of you who might not be regulars or might not have been here recently, I'm always an open invitation to you guys asking questions or chatting with me and chatting with each other. So that's good. But I do have an agenda today. And my agenda is making it easy to understand where you should look. So for that, let me invite you guys to come on over to the studio, find your moving around space, and I'll meet you over there in just a second. Ta-da! Here I am. All right. So, elegantly as you watch a Tai Chi performer, go through their motions, their eyes seem to be looking out into some ethereal distance where they're getting messages from beyond or something like that. Whatever that look is that they have in their eyes when they're doing their Tai Chi. And now, the origins of this trace this back to the martial aspect of our Tai Chi practice, where you are doing a couple of things. Number one, you don't want to take your eyes off of the person who's trying to punch you. Like, don't take your eyes off your opponent, right? There's a famous scene in the Bruce Lee movie Enter the Dragon, where the little kid goes to bow to Bruce Lee, and he bows like this, and Bruce Lee smacks him across the top of the head and says, "Don't take your eyes off your opponent." So don't do that. So that's part of where the eyes are looking. And where is the opponent? The opponent is always assumed in Tai Chi to be directly in front of your nose. So wherever your nose is, and I have a great pointer for this myself. So wherever your nose is pointing, that's where your opponent is assumed to be. And so you should be looking in that direction. So I'm looking at that opponent. But there's a second aspect of where your eyes look in Tai Chi, and that is I want to make sure that I'm set up, ready to attack or defend or neutralize that opponent, right? I want to make sure my hands are in the right place, that my foot's in the right place to go through with it, right? So the second point is to look at your hands. And that's the only 2 points. You look at your hands, you look at the opponent, right? So there's the opponent. And when I'm finished going right to my opponent, I'm going to then shift my gaze back to my hands. Hands, 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 hands. I'm watching my hands. Now I'm ready. Opponent. Back to hands. Like you want to watch your opponent just as long as like, don't sneak up on me, man. I'm watching you, right? I'm making sure, and then I'm watching you, and then I go back to my hands because I'm getting set up for the next one, right? And then back to that opponent because it's right in front of my nose. By the way, I'm assuming that you're doing this with me, right? Now, the timing of this is not so abrupt as I'm kind of making it right now, like I'm looking at the opponent, then I'm looking at my hands. There is a sort of continuous swivel happening here, right? It's a soft timing, going back and forth. So this is another layer deeper. So the simplest, make it easy way of knowing where to look at where to push your eyes or use your eyes, focus your eyes. Opponent, hands. Opponent, hands. That makes it easy. But the next layer is at what point does the focus change? And it's kind of halfway between the 2 points here, halfway between the hands and the opponent. So I'm looking at the opponent, and I'm on my way to turn around, let's say, and halfway there, or I'm still looking at the opponent, halfway there, my gaze shifts to my hands. Now I step out, I'm still watching hands, but halfway there, I shift my gaze, right? Now, I have an even tempo in my movements side to side. So if there's an even tempo in my movements, and my gaze is shifting at exactly these, or approximately these halfway points, then it's a very smooth and even kind of swivel of your head, right? It swivels this way, and that way, then this way, then that way. Right? So the swivel of the head is consistent and smooth on both sides, and it's just 2 places to look. Look at the target, look at your hands. Well, that's all I got. Come on back in, we'll chat for a second. And there I am. Okay. Well, took my glasses off. I forgot what I did with them. Raul says, after a long absence due to a long family emergency. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Raul. Uh, Tony's here from Italy. Buenos Aires, I guess. I'm not sure what time it is there. Well, let me check in and see if anybody has any questions about the eye thing, and whether or not you like these kinds of Tai Chi Made Easy live streams. By the way, just doing my YouTube duty. If you haven't already done so, for whatever reason, subscribed and shared these videos, please do so now. Just go ahead and click the subscribe button. It's even right there on your screen, I think. And like or dislike as you like. It's fine with me. And tell somebody, tell a friend. Okay. What else do we need to do today? Here is my invitation. I'm doing these live streams on a fairly random basis because I've got so many other just crazy, wonderful projects going on right now that I can't schedule the live streams with predictability. But I do have a theme, and the theme is, taking some of the most common questions about Tai Chi, some of the most common challenges, and making it easy. So so this becomes the new theme of the whole channel is just Tai Chi made easy. And it might bear me kind of explaining that a little bit. When I first started Tai Chi, nearly 45 years ago, Tai Chi was so extraordinarily tough for me. It was just, I have no natural talent. I'm not athletic, naturally, or it wasn't as a kid anyway. So I really had to struggle hard to try to figure out how to make my body do the shapes that I saw my teacher doing, and to know how to breathe and where to look and all that kind of stuff. And because I was just so doggedly determined to figure out all these things, I learned like the entire format of how to make Tai Chi easy. That's my specialty. So with you then, what I want to do is share all that 45 years worth of accumulated understanding about how to make Tai Chi easy, because it doesn't have to be hard, right? Tai Chi is not inherently hard. We make it hard by the way that we try to learn it. And I think we can do a simpler job. Anyway, that's my agenda. That's my goal here on this channel. Raul says, sometimes we mess with breathing and eyes. Any suggestion to optimize both with practice will be synchronized? Breathing with the eye chain. So yes, there is a format for this. And I'll tell you what, we'll do that. We'll talk about breathing and the breathing pattern and how it coordinates with where your eyes look, by the way, because there is a coordination there. And we'll do that in another live stream. How about that? Okay. Listen, I don't want to keep you. It's been 15 minutes or so. I missed this. I missed being with you guys. Don't be shy about making a comment to ask a question. And you can do that even after the live stream is over. Anytime you watch this program, this episode, and you have a question or comment or request or complaint, they're all fair. Put them into the comments, because I get notified regardless of when that happens. Fancy Weasel says, my main problem with Tai Chi is remembering the sequence. Well, here's the thing. This is a really, really good question, and I've talked about this a lot, and I'll talk about it really briefly right now, and then I'll let you guys go. So remembering anything is a sort of a natural function of the human brain, and we do it all wrong. We're taught how to do it all wrong in school. So the problem with you remembering the sequence is that you're trying to remember the sequence, right? Don't try to remember the sequence because that's not how the human brain works. The human brain doesn't go, oh, I need to remember that, and then you remember it. Like what happens there literally is that your brain will take the event or the subject matter and distort it in some way. And so what you remember is all messed up. And then you come back to it as, that wasn't right. And then I can't remember anything, right? Well, in fact, what your brain is doing is remembering it in a very distorted fashion because you're trying to remember it. So don't try to remember it. So how do you remember it? You remember through repeated rehearsal. And the only reason to have repeated rehearsal is because you're having fun with it. So that's why I say, come and join me, man. Come and play with me, come and dance with me, come and do some Tai Chi with me so we can have some fun together. And the repeated rehearsal of the sequence is how your brain will actually remember. You don't have to try. Trying to remember will screw you up. Anyway, that's obviously a little bit of a soapbox of mine. so, so there you go. Okay, anyway, I'm reading some of the comments over there. You guys are awesome. I love you. Get the heck out of here. Let me see if I can come back to our exit screen. There we go. Have a great weekend. See you.